Ah, yes!
Oh, yes.
You know what that sound means.
Hell yeah, I do.
Time for the best damn sound of the week. In the Paddock F1, Greeny and the Cheese. We're on hiatus when we get to Vegas. So we decided to take a little trip to Greentopia. You all know, my friends, where the beer flows like wine and the wine flows like beer. And the cannabis, oh yes, it grows as far as the eyes can see. Look at it. Look at it out there. Green and luscious. Take a little whiff. That air smells fantastic. Take a little walk to the top of the hill, because we're placing bets no matter what time of year it is. We're also doing a little show at the casino. Little In the News special for you folks.
In the news. In the news special, yes, sir. There is a lot that happened. I think since our last race, we ended in Brazil with pretty much Max locking it up for the year. As we'll talk about in a few minutes about how the possibilities, the mathematical possibilities of Max not winning at this point, which is pretty slim, but there is a mathematical chance of Lando still pulling this one out. Very slim. But
No, zero chance.
There's not a 0% chance. Mathematically speaking, it's not zero. It's not zero mathematically.
Not mathematically, realistically, zero chance.
Yeah. It's like rooting for Kamala at 3 a.m. and the day after the U.S. election. There's a slim chance. That's where we're at.
No.
Max is taking it pretty much yet again. This will be his fourth straight. Is that correct? So 4 straight titles. Those who are non-believers in Max having 4. It's his 3rd straight title, depending on a stolen title or not. And here we are, and it's really incredible that we had this up and down roller coaster season where Max was just winning it straight out, and then now he was losing it, and now he's just finishing it up here with that wet and wild race in Brazil. But we move on and continue because we have some in the news for you. So, Cheese, I'm going to turn it over to you, sir, for this week's stories.
All right, we will start off with story number 1. Gabriel Portorello, the leader of the F2 championship at the moment, has signed a multi-year deal to take the 2nd seat at Sauber to team up with your boy, well, he won't be your boy at the end of the season, Hulkenberg.
I'll always root for Nico. I'll always root for Nico.
Got to root for the Hulk.
Yeah, just like, as Romain Grosjean is fondly forever in my heart. Listen. Let's be honest here. You're having a guy here who won F3 last year, is leading F2 this year, and by that logic, he should win the Drivers' Championship next year in F1. But obviously it's not going to happen. It's not going to happen.
Not in Sauber. Not in Sauber.
That would be. Has that ever had? That's never had. It can never have happened. That would be an amazing feat. You win F3 year 1, F2, and then F1 in 3 consecutive years. But doubtful. But you have a driver who's a winner. And Nico definitely. K-Mag was not good this year. Let's be honest. And Nico would definitely benefit from a young, hungry driver for sure.
Well, K-Mag was never going to go to Sauber.
Well, K-Mag did nothing this year. But I'm just talking about comparison as far as Nico's concerned, and as far as bringing in a legit, young, hungry teammate.
Well, it's the thing that's been just going through Formula One right now. It's the changeover. The young kids are being let in finally. The changing of the guard is underway. A lot of the older names are going to be gone, and we're going to have a bunch of new names. You need some new, fresh blood. Hopefully it even brings better racing. some more competitive racing instead of trying to push everybody off the track, which is, I don't know, kind of been the way of things for the last, 8 years, 10 years? They're, like, with the loss of, the clean air that the racing has suffered. So maybe some new blood, some new rule changes, and we can get back to some great racing.
Yeah, I think we'll see a lot. I think it's setting up a lot here in 2026 and what they can do. You're going to be an Audi fan in 2026 for sure. So this could be setting the table.
I will never abandon Ferrari. There might be a car added to the stable. There might be a team added to the stables just because I am, as you know, a Volkswagen fan, as I do drive a Volkswagen. So, and Volkswagen does own Audi. So that'll probably jump on that wagon a bit. And if you
every time, starting in 2026, when Audi scores points, that's going to tug at your heartstrings. 1,000%.
Oh, absolutely, yeah,
1,000%. And they're not going to be competitive with Ferrari. So what are you worried about? There's no competition there.
No, we will never, ever jump ship on the Scuderia. We are Tifosi for life, my friend.
That's going to pull your heartstrings down.
Damn right it will. Because
hopefully Bordello is
driving Ferrari every day.
Does become a fan favorite, and hopefully we're sitting here this time next year with a show so big that you can actually get your own Ferrari. So don't hold your breath, kid.
I will not.
You'll never root for Audi. Then you'll never root for Audi. Only way to get you not to root for Audi in any way, shape, or form is to buy your ass a cherry red Ferrari to be sitting in your driveway. Replace the Moonraker, replace the V-Dub that's sitting in the driveway now, and put that. Obviously, that couldn't be a driveway car; that would be a garage car.
Well, yes, yeah,
but yeah. So that's the only way you're gonna not root for Audi. So until then, sir, wish in one hand and crap in the other and seeing if a Ferrari shows up. Anyway, what else you got for us?
All right, the FIA. I'm going to get out my phone here to just get all the information correct on this one.
All right. That's fair. We are not a fake news broadcast. We want to make sure our news is accurate as possible.
All right. So, as we know, back in Austin, we had the front bib adjuster controversy with Red Bull. The investigation has taken place, and the FIA is now satisfied. It has given Red Bull the all clear that the bib was never used outside of the regulations, meaning, post-park ferme or during a race event. I call shenanigans.
I was thinking the exact same thing. This is bullshit.
That was quite a quick investigation. That was pretty darn quick for the FIA. For an investigation with the FIA to be done that quick, that's shocking. Number one, which, gives that fishy smell in the air to me.
Yeah, it doesn't pass the smell test.
2, I don't even know how they could even say that they could determine that it was never used during a, post park ferme or anything, because they just got to, move a lever and it's, boom, done. So
they have to go back to every single tape. Listen, everything's on film. Everything's documented. Yes. So it's not like some secret garage. Like, all those garages are open, and they're open for a reason. They're not closed for a reason. So
unless they put unless they bring out, the barricades and block the press's view, and they bring the press car back.
Sometimes they do for certain reasons. But there are no garage. You don't close them for a reason, so people can be able to see inside. They can tape inside and make sure there's no shenanigans going on. So we don't have to retroactively go back and be like, last year this team needs to lose X number of points.
I don't know if you know this, but the cars are watched by camera 24/7.
Yes.
There's a camera right above the car that the FIA places looking down, so they can see everything. So if anybody's doing something, in the garage, they will see it. But that doesn't mean it, can't be changed, outside of that. I mean, you remember, what was it, 4 years ago? When Mercedes had that thing they could do with the wheel so that they could heat the tires up better. You remember that?
Oh, yeah, I remember that.
Remember that? They would just up through the wheel, and it would change the angle of the wheel so they could heat the tires up more and then switch it back. So you're telling me that Red Bull couldn't have done this, on the grid even. On the grid before race when there's 10,000 people on that grid. There's hundreds of people on that grid before race. It's stirring around all over the place. You can't tell me they couldn't make an adjustment then. Rubbish.
You have to go back and look at every single tape. But these guys can be very sneaky. Very sneaky.
Oh, it's been... yes.
Like John Turturro's character in the movie Mr. Deeds. Very sneaky. And it could be very, very sneaky. Like Mercedes was with their tires. With and I don't know if we're going to talk, I don't know if they have it on the list, but the whole Pirelli thing with the water in the tires now, people can try to be very, very sneaky. And
Formula One has been known throughout its history for people to try and bend the rules or get around the rules any gosh darn way they can.
Talking about
make the car go faster.
Tenth of a second.
Make the car go faster. Whatever advantage you can gain, these guys will try and push the limits. It has been known throughout F1 history that people break the rules. People have been caught breaking the rules and been punished for breaking the rules. But that would not. Everybody's trying to do something to try and benefit any way they can. That's the story of Formula One throughout history. And basically, you could say that about most professional sports, too.
Absolutely. I mean,
from any
those,
type of advantage,
who follow, U.S. sports. And this is the hardest part. Like, you go look back at, from our college athletics here in the States with some of the retroactive, they paid this guy or they illegally recruited this guy, like the famous Michigan basketball team from the early 90s and collegiately here. Really a huge issue that they were all their banners were taken down because of illegal recruiting and illegal things that happened. So we don't want to retroactively do that.
SMU was destroyed years ago by getting the death penalty for the madness they had going on down there. I mean, the rules have changed a little bit now currently with, everybody gets paid now left and right. So it's you can pay your, athletes are not getting paid in college, but any advantage anybody can try and get in any sport that's professional or even the college ranks, they will try.
Yeah, listen, SMU, they were one of the worst of all time, and they were Methodists. So
it's supposed to be a religious school, so yeah.
Really. Sometimes you just can't make it up. All right, what else you got?
All right, a final story for the week. Red Bull has announced Perez will stay on for 2025. I just got one question. Fucking why?
I got a question for you, actually. I'm going to answer your question with a question. Why are you stressed about this as a Ferrari fan? Do you want a powerhouse? Do you want an Alex Albon in there? Or do you want Sergio, I don't. Who do you want in that seat? Because that's direct competition against you as a Ferrari fan.
I am thinking
you should be excited that you're going to have an eighth-place driver as the number two.
I'm just thinking of Perez's mental state. I mean, the guy they've tried to fire him for 2 years now. So you're going to go through that again for another season when you clunk it up.
I think mentally he's fine.
He's fine my ass. he has
He's
fined my ass.
loaded.
Oh, I'm not
In money sense. Maybe he's loaded
Money
as well in
sense.
other ways just to get through it. But
well, hey, the way he's driving, he damn well might be. I mean, it's a disaster. If you're going to have 3 teams compete for the title, you want both teams to have 2 good drivers that are going to score points, make it more exciting for everybody. I mean, that's why Red Bulls are pretty much out of the. They might finish second or third, and they have no chance of winning the constructors because Perez can't score points. Period.
Love it. Red Bull is losing money because they should be the number 1 team. They should win the constructors title. And 100%. I don't know, what's the difference between first and third as far as the money allocation goes? I don't know if you have the top of your head, but it's got to be pretty massive. So
I would say anywhere from 50 to 100 million
between first and third.
Yeah.
Throwing out a guess. Yeah. We'll check. I'll check that out. If anyone knows, drop it in the comments on the YouTube. But I'll look it up as well. But
it's a lot of scunol.
For real. So now you're overspending to get Perez when you can get Colapinto or something like that in there and
who
put
doesn't
him
have a
in
seat
there.
now.
Or
he will not
exactly.
have a seat.
So put someone like that in there. Yeah. You're not paying him $30 million a year, so you're going to pay him a rookie salary. I don't know what is what do some of these guys make? Probably? I have no idea. Not 30.
A few million.
So you're going to save that money, and you're going to have competition to try to get that extra 50 to 100 million, as you said. I'll have to look that up, but. It's a net loss. It's a bad business decision. It's a bad business decision. And I don't know who ultimately makes these decisions, but I believe it's Christian Horner that ultimately has the last say here.
I don't know. There's a pissing contest between Horner and Marco, so on what's going on there. I mean, and then you look at Perez. Do you really want the embarrassment of possibly getting fired in the middle of the season next year, too? It's not like Red Bull hasn't done that before.
I don't think Sergio cares.
I think you do. I think you should care if you want your legacy. You want your legacy to be there. You want to be noticed the guy who got canned mid-season in Formula One. For the last couple seasons, that never happened before. They always went to the end of the year before they made a change. Most drivers, the only reason they were replaced was because of physically they could not get in the car because of a broken bones or something.
Yeah.
You don't get fired mid-season.
I told you, if you go back and listen to the season preview, I talked about several drivers getting fired mid-season. And you said, no, absolutely not. This is the era we are in sports. You fire someone really quickly. And the egos and the money, honestly, it's very different when you were even making a couple million a year, right? And you have million. Now you're making enough money in your first year of your big contract that you can't even $30 million. I mean, yeah, I could spend $30 million. It's not easy. It's not easy to spend that much money. These guys have a lifetime worth of money to spend. You could just walk away. Do I want to work or not work? And when it comes to that, if you don't care about your legacy, if you don't care about any of that, and you have all this money and this popularity, you go out in your hometown, you never pay for a meal or a drink ever again.
Well, Perez also passed down. Apparently, he passed off a couple teams that wanted him to join the team. So he passed another offer to say Red Bull because he thinks he's winning a drivers' championship, being teamed up with Max. He's got no chance of that ever happening because he will never be the first driver on that team. Period.
Yeah. You know what? A few months ago, I would say I would never write him off forever. But I think now he's done. I think after 2023 and now 2024, he finished second or third last. He finished third last year.
He finished second, otherwise he was getting fired.
That's right. So he was finishing second or getting fired last year.
But he was still like 100 plus points behind Max.
And now he's eighth. And that's job security. To me, if I worked at Red Bull right now, if I worked at Red Bull right now, you just do whatever the hell you want. Do whatever the hell you want. I ain't coming in today. I'm going to drink at work. Like, obviously, they don't give a shit at Red Bull. Like, do whatever you want. If you're working at Red Bull and you're listening to this show right now, they're not going to fire you. They might say they're going to fire you. They ain't doing shit. So whatever you want, man. I would smoke a doob in the parking lot every day before work at this point. What are they going to do? I'm not kidding when I say that. Either finish second or you get fired. Okay, so you finish second. And then your expectations are like, all right, now do whatever the hell you want.
I mean, he already breached the contract.
He finished third last year.
He breached the contract that he has with Red Bull currently before the break, being 100 points behind Max at that point. Right.
We had spoken about that earlier in the season.
So, I mean, it's I was shocked. And if he thinks he's winning a driver, I mean, Adrian Newey ain't designing that car no more. He gone.
If Sergio Perez thinks he's winning a driver's championship, then he's already smoking a doob when he rolls up to work every day. Okay? He's already doing that. And you agree.
He's got to be doing something.
Got to be doing something. I don't know what happened.
He's got to be doing something.
Man crumbled, and they just keep giving him more money. So obviously, they know something we don't. They know a lot of things we don't. As do all these organizations, stuff that goes on behind the scenes.
Well, if you go on the track record of the season for Red Bull, it hasn't looked great. It has not been good, and there ain't no miracle, aerodynamics that's going to be able to save your bacon next year.
I'm going to leave it here. Because everyone can relate. Everyone who's listening
especially if you get... Especially with Colapinto sitting there.
Everyone who has worked a job in their lives has gone to work every day. Maybe you've been there for 3 years or 5 years or 10 years. And there's always that one guy or girl that just stinks. Stinks. And they don't fire them and they don't get rid of them. And you're like, how the hell does this person have a job? Everyone. Whether you worked at a fast food restaurant or you're the CEO of a company, everyone has someone in their lives, someone in their, especially their work orbit, like, how the hell does this person work here? Do you have someone right now? Has this person get a paycheck every 2 weeks? We all do. Yeah. Yeah. So it's the same thing. And most of the time they're making more than you, which really pisses you off.
Grinds your gears?
Sticks in your craw, whatever term you want to use. 100%. And we all live through it. So all I have to say is the people who make less than Sergio and are clearly better drivers and want that seat badly, that's rough. Especially if you're in the Red Bull family and you have close ties to the front office you really think you can get that seat.
Without a seat for Colapinto, he's gone. He'll leave Formula One.
He'll be back. Colapinto will be back. He has the temperament to be able to drive a Formula One car. He has a temperament.
Yeah, but mostly if he goes to like IndyCar or something like that, a lot of guys aren't coming back to Formula One now.
We'll see what happens.
When they change over. So
yeah, everyone's on an individual path. Obviously, Indy definitely has a lot of one and done Formula One guys. For whatever reason, I think Indy is just less travel, way less travel, way less stress. I think. Yes. I think a lot that has a lot. A lot of guys who've
gone over have enjoyed it. So,
and you can still make a lot of money in IndyCar. Yeah. It's not like it used to be, where Formula One was. It still pays a lot more. Yeah. For the driver wages, but it's so much money now that, okay, I'll only make $10 million instead of $30 million. Like, wow. It's more money than most people could spend. And I think the feeling is that a lot of these people just want their families to be one area, one space, one country. Right. So it's a lot easier, relatively, than the Formula One circuit. So that's why. But if you had a shot at making $50, $60 million a year, you kind of have to at least try for a few years, which most of them do. But we will leave it there. We'll leave it there, and we're heading to Vegas shortly, but we are, of course, going to give you one more episode. We're going to give you a Vegas warm-up episode coming up this week, so listen out for that. We'll have a Vegas pre-race because it is now one of the biggest races of the year, and tickets are dropping like a rock. We'll get to that on Wednesday this week because if you ever wanted to go to a Formula One race and you're living domestically, first of all, you can usually get a cheap flight to Vegas somehow, somewhere, wherever you are, especially if you're domestically here in the U.S. And tickets are reasonable. I saw tickets for Thursday at like $30. Okay, so tickets
weekend
definitely reasonable.
Packages are like went from like 1,500. They're now like 600.
So definitely reasonable to go relatively, of course. Don't spend money that you don't have. We will be back with everything. We get this race started, or this race weekend started Thursday, I believe, right? We start P1 Thursday. So that should be fun. That should be a blast. Anyone living in Vegas and wants to chime in, email us inthepaddock@gmail.com. Love to hear what's going on out in Vegas right now as we're setting up once again, because I know that's always a shit show and a dumpster fire setting this up. For those who I know live out there and are out there when they set this race up, it's a mess setting this thing up. So chime in about that and say what you got to say, brother.
We'll see you in a few days.
And as always,
stay medicated, my friends.
Peace.